So this intro for me is basically extremely reminiscent of my childhood. I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid back in the 90s, and I've got some brilliant memories from that. Really looking forward to diving back into this anime again and everything I missed over the years. Considering even a lot of modern anime don't bother with animating clouds and such, it's awesome to see such an old anime taking the time to add a moving shadow. I'll be speeding this up a bit, as otherwise it'll definitely get copyright claimed, but I think it's great how they transition from the Earth up through the clouds and into space where the Saiyan is arriving from.
You think you've got enough firewood there?
Yeah, this should last us a while, don't you think?
Not saying it's absolutely perfect, but it's certainly nice not to have the mental image of an old lady in my head coming from a badass like Goku. On the note of win number 2, it's also great to see an anime perfectly animating a moving object, especially at speed like this, where once again, even modern anime do the old walking on the spot kind of stuff, as I've pointed out many times on Anime Since. For the reveal of the first bad guy Saiyan in the series. It's so damn epic to think about how far the series has come from this point on. Gohan being lost in the forest goes on for some time, but it's actually quite a sweet series of events as he attempts to find his father and gets into trouble along the way. It seems like great character building to who he becomes down the road.
It's nice to meet you.
This right here is another very sweet example of Gohan's nature. Yeah, this is getting a win obviously. So gosh darn sweet.
So where's Goku at?
Well, he said he was gonna be here. I guess he's on his way. Wow! Hey, Krillin, leave me some!
Dragon Ball Z isn't the greatest anime of all time. I think we all know that, but there's always been something about it to me that I enjoy. They don't invest loads of time in team building like, say, Steins Gate, but there's just enough invested to make me look at moments like this fondly and reminisce.
Here we are, Gohan!
Kakarot, you cannot escape me.
A couple more good examples of the animators putting in the effort to animate characters moving against a still background. Just genuinely hard to believe that some modern anime don't care much about this. Whoa there boy! Allow me to go ahead and slow this one down for you. Check out, considering the year, how much animation just went into those few seconds. From Krillin getting hit and flying towards us, then transition into another similar side view, and then finally a kind of first person mode, and lastly the impressive impact. Mad props to them there, and I think they can actually take 2 wins for that.
Gohan tried to take care of you, but you were wild, downright uncontrollable, and unusually powerful.
This is really good for me, as I believe I only jumped into the anime around the very early Frieza days, so seeing Goku's origin story as it were is pretty cool.
I'm right here with you, Goku. Just stay close to Gohan.
So obviously I'm guessing this isn't too different from the subbed version, but it's still nice to actually see a version of Goku who gives a damn about his son and his well-being, which is definitely not the vibe I got from most of Dragon Ball Super.
Daddy, help me, Daddy!
Gohan! Gohan!
Goku giving a shit.
Oh yeah? What do you know about him?
I know this much. The only chance we have of winning is if I go with you.
I know the voice actors aren't exactly brilliant back in the olden days, but I gotta hand it to them. They got a pretty good Piccolo, both in terms of his voice in general, but the edge he puts on it as well. It's very cool to be honest.
Put me down! Put me down!
Literally giving a win for putting Gohan away, who is driving me insane with his crying this episode. Let's drop one here to just commemorate the first ever proper attack and a proper fight in the Dragon Ball Z anime, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. I gotta admit, considering how old it is, it's nice to be able to go back this far and see animation being done like this. It hasn't changed a great deal from those days other than the introduction of CGI and seemingly smoother action, but again, taking into account the year, they nicely animated and edited a fighting sequence like this back then. Ah yes, the days of entirely hand-drawn animation. Seriously though, considering there's absolutely no CGI in play here, these blast and explosion type effects are very nicely done.
Just hope Goku's doing all right. I've got a terrible feeling about all this.
Well, at least we know that with Piccolo...
You see, I like stuff like that. She's flying the ship through a weird area with tall hills and such, and they actually took the time to add passing shadows over the three of them.
Enough of this!
Very nicely done. They can take 2 wins here. One for the first Kamehameha of the series, and the second for how genuinely good that actually looked from start to explosive finish.
Special beam cannon!
Well, I didn't think that would happen. They can have another 2 for the same reasons as above. Although I must say, I think the special beam cannon's hand-drawn effects actually ended up looking even better, to be honest.
I'll never forget how much my tail hurt when someone squeezed it!
Wow, they actually finished a battle without resorting to an ex machina or an ass pull. I can barely even recall those days.
Unable to bear his father's torture any longer, Gohan has erupted from Raditz's space pod in a sudden explosion of anger.
This happens, and at the very least it stops the crying from his character for a blissful moment or two. Also, they can take an additional win for yet again not having it be an ex machina moment, since they took several occasions to mention to us the viewer about Gohan having a high power level earlier on. Absolutely no way that this doesn't earn a big fat dollop of a win smeared right across this video.
That... to me...
No! Stay back!
I'm glad I'm covering this and not Kai, because as far as I could tell, they censored quite a lot of that. It feels odd to me to be seeing blood in Dragon Ball Z. I guess they did the same for UK television when I was a kid.
How could that little brat's attack weaken me so much?
Working into the script why he was now not strong enough to shake off the tired and beaten Goku. Whoa, lots of blood!
Raditz stinks. He's a complete disgrace.
Vegeta.
If we can get our hands on those 7 Dragon Balls, then we can wish for anything we want.
Also, in terms of world building, or I guess universe building, this scene nicely introduced everyone to the idea of different worlds and species and such, which is awesome.
Get back there, Lloyd, right now! That's right, move along! Proceed in an orderly fashion!
Once again, I'll happily state that scenes like this did wonders for me as a kid in terms of opening up the world building of the Dragon Ball universe and learning all the ins and outs of it.
If he's left to fight the Saiyans alone, then I'm afraid before King Yama. Kami! You slug, get out now!
The fact that they actually addressed that this dude was stood there talking to himself for like 45 seconds is brilliant, especially since I was just about to sin it. That beautiful transition.
Here I go!
He can fly.
This moment. This is a cool moment in the anime, but it also left me feeling as though Dragon Ball Super didn't particularly feel like it continued the legacy of Gohan and his power. Is this something you agree or disagree with? It felt like Super made Gohan just another fighter, albeit a stronger one towards the end, but no one really special or anything. Agree or disagree? Let me know in those comments though. Hot damn, this is a genuinely fantastic looking shot. Like, genuinely great, considering it was 1989.
What? Really? But you just got here.
No, Krillin, please stay. At least until Goku gets home.
I'ma be honest, I straight up prefer this version of Chi-Chi to the Japanese original's incredibly bitchy nature. Keeping in mind I never saw Dragon Ball Z in the sub when I was a kid obviously, but I'm guessing her character was the same as it was in Dragon Ball Super. I wonder if the moment where Gohan and Piccolo are training in Dragon Ball Z and they eat the tail of a dinosaur is meant as a callback to this particular scene. If so, that's very damn cool. I don't know if it's just my imagination, but I swear Dragon Ball Super didn't have half half as many interesting and unique visuals like this one and the many others I pointed out in all its 131 episodes compared to the 7 I've seen so far of Dragon Ball Z?
I miss my mom's cooking.
The fact that Piccolo helped out Gohan by providing a bit of food, I think this was quite indicative of showing his evolving character in the series. This cute little guy. Yeah, I love animals, even nice little drawn ones like this. As someone who has never once seen this happening before now, this is pretty damn epic.
What is that thing?
I don't know, Gohan, but it totally reminds me of the robot out of Chrono Trigger, and where I come from, that probably equals a win, even though location of birth really shouldn't factor into the process.
Hey, you really are little. What's a kid like you doing way out here in my neck of the woods?
Man, this is weird. I can't ever recall seeing anything like this before in the series, so it's quite awesome, and I'm not even entirely sure why.
It's just not Mom's. I miss her so much, and I have no idea where I am or how to get back home.
Yes, that must be difficult.
Even though I'm not the greatest fan of this version of Gohan and his whingy whiny nature pretty much non-stop, I can still appreciate the storyline focusing on building his character, who he will become later on down the line. It seems to me that during Dragon Ball Super, this kind of slow-burning character building progress and individual storyline focus was shifted in order to get through the story arcs a bit quicker, unless they were written that way in the first place. But I think when people look back to their childhoods watching this, they're likely to be met with nostalgia when recalling Gohan being lost in the forest, or his time trying to survive on his own, and the time he met the huge robot. That's what I'm going to take away from this anyway, so they can take 2 here. We're getting character progression from a robot! Initially wanting nothing to do with Gohan, and then over the rest of the episode, he's gone on to rescue him from danger 3 times. What a real robo-bro.
Ready, Gohan?
Ready for what?
Oh man, that's actually genuinely sad.
Come now, Gohan. That won't do any good.
Don't go!
I thought that was sad. This is sad. Take 2. Us getting a glimpse of how far Gohan has already progressed, no longer being afraid of some animals, catching his own fish to eat and collecting berries and such.
And the pressure has got to be mounting for that man!
Right. Yamcha's already hit 3 solo homers, but how long can he keep up the streak?
Once again, I'm getting hit with nostalgia flashbacks since we actually got to see an episode covering baseball in Dragon Ball Super. It's very cool that they continue to touch on those moments so much throughout the series, and that I can now pick up on all of them on this watch through. By the way, I just want to thank all of you for watching along. These video series covering larger anime are going to be view and like dependent on whether or not they get a part 2, so if you enjoy yourself, be sure to leave a like and a comment, and if it does well, I'll definitely cover the next 10 episodes and so on.
You should explain that you were just out of money! Huh, Yamcha was broke 99% of the time anyway.
Oh my god, these 2 used to date. Man, that's like ancient history now in the newest episodes. I literally never knew, or at least missed it if they ever mentioned it in Super.
It'll fix you right up. Trust me, you're not the only one.
The fact that Gohan helps out this giant dino dude like a real sweetheart.
There, I think that should be enough.
Okay, yeah, no one can deny that this is sweet as hell, can they? Seeing Gohan even further ahead now in terms of his progression to being self-sufficient is excellent. He's gone from being this crying non-stop kid to a brave young lad happily taking care of not only himself but other nice animals along the way, and they can have a second win here for him dealing with the death of his new friend soon and realizing how cruel the world and nature can be. Nathan Burr, Alexander Frakes, Vupu, Manuel Meza, Josiah May, Bird Without a Word, Loritz, Joel Rosenfeld, BZX001, Yolna Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Matayson, Casey McCreary, Pamela, Master Tank, Brendan Creer, James Milner, Kyle Farmer, Theodore Quackens, Kaj Vorzelman, Jordan Samuels, Scott Harris, Gabby Z.